Your company, A Lot of Grain Cars, also known as ALG Cars, has proposed in using the Zipcar business model. Currently, your car sharing service aims to provide convenient, cheap services that are environmentally friendly through car sharing by subleasing cars. By deploying cars all over the island, customers only need to make their reservations online and book a car within walking distance of their homes. The server wirelessly sends the reservation to the black box in the car, telling the car when and for whom to unlock the door. When the customer appears with a key fob, just a simple touch and go will unlock the car, enabling the starter and starting a billing record noting time and odometer reading. The member will find the key inside the car, allowing him to continue on with his journey. The billing data is sent wirelessly back to the server and is billed in real time. This business model will work in Singapore, however with some modifications to suit the micro and macro environment to align the interests of the different stakeholders. Let's analyze the current potential in the market of Singapore. Singapore has a high cost of car ownership due to high COE prices, ERP charges and road tax. With a high population density, parking is a severe issue. Singapore has a convenient transport system with a supportive government which is trying to reduce the number of cars on the road and a relatively tech-savvy population with one of the highest smartphone penetration rates in the world. RFID technology is also used in all transportation systems. Currently, there are two main competitors in the market, Zipcar and Car Club, with these two well-established car companies using mostly non-environmentally friendly cars as part of their fleet. Taxis also come in as an indirect competitor. Next, we examine the interests of the different stakeholders of this car-sharing venture. Our first stakeholders will be Singaporeans. They are interested in a convenient, cheap alternative as means of transportation for short-haul trips with a sense of freedom and ownership, and if possible, contribute to the environment at the same time. They want a system that is hassle-free and require little one-off financial commitments, obtainable at any place, anytime. Cost will be the most important factor to them. Our second stakeholder would be the government, whose interest is to reduce the number of cars on the road and will be interested in the idea of car sharing. Each shared vehicle replaces 15 cars on Singapore roads. Our third stakeholder will be you, the owners of ALG, where you are interested in using this venture as a stepping stone to the rest of Southeast Asia, meaning this venture needs to be on a large scale. Our fourth stakeholder will be the investors, who are interested in a business venture that is of low risk and high returns. They are interested in something that has huge potential to be very profitable and sustainable in the long run that justifies the amount of capital. The last stakeholder will be your employees, who are interested in a company that would be sustainable in the long run with adequate welfare and opportunities given. To align the different stakeholders' interests, we need a car service that is convenient, hassle-free, cheap, and is large-scale enough to significantly reduce the number of cars on the road and reap in significant revenue for the investors and owners, such that they are able to use it as a stepping stone to the rest of Southeast Asia. And hence, we have decided to recommend two modifications. First, we recommend using electric cars instead of the standard normal cars. Next, we recommend purchasing these cars and renewing them every 4 years instead of leasing them. So why electric cars? Based on the fact that there are already two well-established car-sharing companies in Singapore with a business model that is very similar to that of Zipcar, ALG needs to differentiate themselves. Electric cars will provide the differentiating factor with it being environmentally friendly, as there is currently no large-scale existing electric car rental service. Also, on the basis of the LCA, electric cars reduce CO2 emissions by approximately 40% compared with a comparable gasoline vehicle. Next, ALG's existing model proposes for the leasing of rental vehicles, but the smarter way forward is to purchase the vehicles. Based on our estimates, purchasing the vehicles will allow ALG to generate 3 times the amount of profits of what you will earn if you were to lease. Please refer to the Excel link below to see our estimates with our assumptions. In the growing phase, it's more beneficial for ALG to reinvest these profits into growing the company. Looking forward to the long term, leasing vehicles will only incur unnecessary costs that delays expansion plans. Based on the modifications, the target segment would be middle-income Singaporeans who are not too well off to afford a car but would like to have ownership and if possible contribute to the environment. They will be tech-savvy and in their 21 to 30s. Talk about the pricing structure and strategy for your company. Our prices are targeted at attracting young working professionals. These young professionals dream of owning a car but can't afford one. At the same time, they are tech-savvy and conscious of their carbon footprints as well. Our recommended price plans are as follows. We recommend an initial application fee of $25 for new members and an annual fee of $120 paid monthly. These fees would be waived off for the first 2 years of our business. Users should be charged a per hour rate of $10 for the first hour and for subsequent hours at $3.50. Every km driven should cost the customer 35 cents. Our recommendation offers the most competitive rate when compared to your close competitors. By following our recommendations, you will offer a lower per km rate and lower per hour charges than them. To put things into perspective, a night out to the city for 3 hours will cost only $37. That's cheaper than both of your competitors. In comparison with taxis, the same ride to the city and back will cost $45, while renting ALG cars under the new pricing plan would cost only $37, not forgetting the freedom to drive elsewhere. On top of our pricing strategy, we recommend that ALG introduce loyalty programs to encourage customers to continue using your cars. We recommend your company to extend your service to corporate customers who can use your car for business-related purposes. Let's say if you manage to obtain the funding, what should you do with it? We recommend that the large majority goes to buying cars, of course. The rest will go into administrative charges, development of access equipment, and the building of charging infrastructure. And as with any business, there will be risks involved. There are large asset risks due to the need to purchase vehicles ourselves. However, in the event that the business is unable to take off, the cars may still be liquidated to recover part of the initial capital. Adopt a low-cost marketing strategy, relying mainly on word of mouth to promote the service. This will be done through social media sites such as Twitter and Facebook. New users that sign up with a referral from an existing user can have their application's fees waived as a promotion. We recommend using the Nissan Leaf as the electric car. The stylish Nissan Leaf plying the Singapore streets will be your best publicity. You may also wish to make use of the media as free publicity for your service. The sustainability is most succinctly stated in managing the three impacts: people, profit, and planet. People. To take care of its employees, ALG can allow them to plan their own schedules. The flexibility of working from home can also be considered in the future. How can ALG Cars benefit its customers? As mentioned earlier, convenience and cost effectiveness are some of the factors. The price of COE for a Honda Jazz has risen to about $83,000 in September 2013, making ownership of a vehicle slightly out of reach for the average Singaporean with earnings of only $3,000 a month. Another reason is that it caters to their needs to be environmentally friendly by minimizing their carbon footprint. A recent study by Mastercard shows that Singaporeans are also more inclined to spend on ethical goods and services. The government and businesses are also propagating the green agenda with the introduction of the green labelling in 1992, as well as numerous awards such as the Singapore Environmental Achievement Award for businesses. Car sharing also reduces congestion as mentioned earlier. This could have considerable impact in the long run if Singapore reaches its population target of 6.9 million in 2030. Planet. The life cycle mentioned earlier shows how electric cars produce lesser emissions. Singaporeans drive an average of 19,000 km per year. How much carbon emissions are produced? Let us use two cars for comparison: ALG's electric Nissan Leaf and a normal gas-powered car like the Renault's Fluence. Renault's car engine produces about 0.339 grams per km of carbon monoxide and 155 grams per km of carbon dioxide. So after doing the math, an average Singaporean produces about 6.441 kg of carbon monoxide and 2,945 kg of carbon dioxide through driving a year. This is in stark contrast to the Nissan Leaf, which uses a synchronous motor and produces no emissions while driving. Profitability. Singapore has infrastructure to support electrical car usage, with about 54 charging stations located across the island. The government has mentioned that alternatives such as car sharing will be examined for its feasibility. Perhaps with this, the high initial costs incurred by car sharing companies can be partially subsidized by the government as it is in line with their agenda. There's potential for car sharing because it is costly to own a car, with only one car for every 6 Singaporeans. By estimating an average of about 100 members and 15 cars for the first year in our recommendations, there will be a net loss. However, by year 2 there will be a profit which will be realized. A profit of about 6.8 million should be achieved by the end of year 10. Costs might decrease as the government might produce future subsidies. Future expansion. We recommend that you consider Kuala Lumpur because it has a relatively high population density when compared to Boston. Car costs can go up to as high as 140,000 ringgit for a Honda Accord 2.0 with a monthly installment of about 1,300 ringgit. The average household income of residents in KL is about 5,400 ringgit. The Malaysian government is also building out its EV charging infrastructure, with the most recent one being at Bangsar Shopping Centre, and more and upcoming EV charging stations are also in the works. This makes the idea of electric car sharing feasible in the Malaysian capital. With so many opportunities for growth, special consideration has to be given to the triple bottom line: people, profit, and planet, to ensure business sustainability. Only by reconciling these three factors can ALG be considered a truly sustainable enterprise. ALG Cars, a lot of gain, a lot of growth, a lot of good.